Yeah, you still. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and label the figure like we should always do. So VW is 2x plus 8. WS is 4x minus 2. RS is 6. And VT is 4y minus 2. Okay, so this is a rectangle. Because it's a rectangle, it is also a what? By definition, a rectangle is a blank with 4 right angles. Parallelogram. Okay? And what do we know about parallelograms? The diagonals bisect each other. So these guys are congruent. And opposite sides are congruent. So those guys are congruent to each other. If segments are congruent, that means that their measures are equal, so set them equal. So we will have 4y minus 2 equals 6, and we will have 2x plus 8 equals 4x minus 2. Those are two totally separate equations. You just solve like normal, so go ahead and do that. If quadrilateral ABCD is a rectangle, so again, if it's a rectangle, it's also a parallelogram. So opposite sides congruent, opposite sides parallel, opposite angles parallel, diagonals bisect. But because it's a rectangle, that means that all of the angles are 90 degrees. So the measure of angle DAC is 4x plus 8. That's only the top part of that angle because DAC is here. DAC is only the top part of that angle. CAB is 5x minus 8. That's this part. So trace it with your finger if you need to. So together, what do we know about those two angles? They equal what? 90. So 4x plus 8 plus 5x minus 8 equals 90.
So that line's bisecting the angle.
It is not bisecting, otherwise we would set them equal.
Oh, okay.
We're not saying they're equal, we're saying that they add up to be 90. They're complementary. So combine like terms, we get 9x. Positive 8 and negative 8 give you 0, so 9x equals 90. Divide and you get 10. If you wanted to plug 10 back in and check your work, those angles should add up to give you exactly 90 degrees. Example 3. ABCD is a rhombus. Find the following. Now, what do I always tell you to before you start answering the problem? Mark it with everything that you know. Okay. Because this is a rhombus, what do you know? 4 sides are congruent. So if this is 14, 14, 14, 14. What else do we know? Yes. If this is 59, this is 59 because in a parallelogram, or in a rhombus, the diagonals not only bisect or cut each other in half, they bisect the angles. So it's 59 degrees on both sides. We know that opposite angles are congruent because it's a parallelogram, so check this out. With me?
And what those that we find?
We are going to find those in just a moment. But talk to me about the diagonals of a rhombus. What else is special about the diagonals in a rhombus? Yes, they are perpendicular. They intersect at a right angle or a 90-degree angle. So all of these angles are 90. Awesome. So how do I find those missing angle measures? Well, check this out. Isn't this just a triangle? And how many degrees are in a triangle? 180. So what is the other angle measure that's missing there? 31? Do you guys agree? 31 plus 59 should give you 90, plus 90 is 180. But once you find that, you know this is 31, 31, 31. So we have every angle measure in this picture. So if they ask us anything about angles, we've got that covered. Now if they ask us about the segments, we know that this segment here is 12. So what other segment is 12? AE is 12. However, the other segment, that is not the case. Okay? The diagonals bisect each other, but they're not congruent. All right? So what we need to do is I'm going to sketch a little picture over here of this right triangle. And actually, I'm going to sketch a picture of this triangle right here. This triangle right here, because I know 14 and I know 12. Actually, I know that in all of them, but so it doesn't really matter. 12 and 14. So I'm missing part of the diagonal. Let's call that x. How do you find a missing side in a right triangle?
Those two have to be like bigger than.
To make a triangle, yes. But what is the formula that we use, or theorem, Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. What side has to be c? The hypotenuse, which is the longest, which is in this case the 14. Okay. Okay, so x squared plus 12 squared is 144. Anybody know 14 squared? 196. Subtract 144 and you get 52. Now that is x squared, but you actually just want x. So how do you get rid of a square? You square root. This is not going to be perfect because 59 or 52 is not a perfect square, but what is it going to be about? What two numbers is it going to be between? Have fun. Good luck.
7.
It's going to be 7 something, right? Because it's between 49 and 64. So 7 point something. Can you help me out? 7.2. Bless you. So this, my friends, is 7.2, and this is also 7.2. Whoops. So, hold on 1 second here. A. Let's go with Rachel.
Rhombus.
Okay, you say A most specifically is a rhombus. Can you tell me why?
Because sides.
Okay. Harrison, agree or disagree? You don't know what it is, if it's a rhombus or a square. You missed our conversation about this, sir. We actually had a conversation about this, that a square has to have 4 right angles included. So would that help you? So do you agree or disagree? Agree, right? A is most specifically a rhombus.
Hey guys, I highly suggest that you memorize all these rules because this is going to be on your test a lot.
Not like SpongeBob.
And this is because all 4 sides are right. Are congruent sides. All right. What about B? Be very, very careful with this one. Now, A rhombus does have
It's
perpendicular.
a polygon.
Rhombi do have perpendicular diagonals. It is a polygon. There is one more specific thing that we can say about it. It is not a rhombus. It is a quadrilateral. Why is it not a rhombus? We would have to know that these sides are equal. Just because the diagonals are perpendicular does not make it a rhombus. It could be a kite. We haven't talked about that, but it could be a kite. Okay? But this is a quadrilateral.
You're wrong. I was more right than you were.
Oh, I thought, what? Oh, wait, what?
Okay, C.
Quadrilateral.
It is a rectangle. Why? The diagonals are bisected, but they are also what? Congruent. That's right. The diagonals are bisected, and they are congruent, so rectangle. Okay? They are bisected, which makes it a parallelogram. The fact that they're congruent makes it a rectangle. How about D? Rectangle. Opposite sides congruent, make it a parallelogram. The right angles more specifically make it a rectangle. But we know it's not a square because all four sides are not equal.